Ever heard of the company called China's Tesla? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the incredible story of XPENG Motors. It's a wild tale of ambition, tech, and innovation, and it all started with a bold move by Elon Musk that pretty much every other company on Earth just completely ignored.
You know, that nickname, China's Tesla, carries a ton of weight. It makes you think they're just a copycat, right? But the real story of how XPeng earned that name is what's truly fascinating. It's a journey that began with a golden ticket and led straight to a massive showdown with the very company that inspired them.
It all kicks off in 2014. That's the year Elon Musk does something completely unexpected. He announces that Tesla is opening up its entire patent portfolio, basically making its technology available for anyone to use. Now, most of the auto industry just kind of dismissed it, called it a PR stunt, but one software entrepreneur in China saw a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and in that very same year, XPeng was born.
So, this strategic move by Tesla, this patent gambit, is really where our story begins. Musk said he wanted to speed up the world's move to sustainable energy. But what he did, probably without even realizing it, was plant the seed for one of his biggest and most formidable competitors down the road. In a world packed with legacy automakers and established giants, you have to ask, who would actually be bold enough to grab this opportunity? Well, it wasn't a traditional car executive. Nope. It was an outsider, someone who got that the future of cars wasn't just about engines and steel, but about software, data, and the whole user experience. And this brings us to the visionary at the heart of our story, a man named He Xiaopeng. See, his background is completely different from anyone else in the car industry. And that right there is exactly what became his greatest strength. Okay, so think about it like this. On one side, you've got your typical auto CEO. They're experts in mechanics, manufacturing, all that stuff. But on the other side, you've got He Xiaopeng, a master of software. He founded the super popular mobile browser UC Browser, so he thought about cars the same way a tech CEO thinks about a smartphone. The hardware is just a shell for the software inside. And get this, he had the resources to actually make that vision a reality. After selling his company to Alibaba, he was suddenly a billionaire. And this is so crucial because starting a car company is ridiculously expensive. He had the serious cash needed to build something revolutionary from scratch without cutting any corners. Now, he wasn't just building a car just for the fun of it. He was tapping into this massive national mission happening in China. You had terrible air pollution in the big cities, and at the same time, huge government subsidies were being pushed out to encourage people to buy electric cars. The market was absolutely perfect for a new player with a bold tech-first vision. And this leads us to XPeng's core strategy, in what was maybe its riskiest bet. See, instead of buying technology off the shelf from suppliers, which is way easier and what most startups do, XPeng decided to build its most important tech entirely in-house. It was a massive undertaking, but it would give them total control over their future. Their software-first approach followed this really clear logic. First, they built the brain of the car, their own operating system, the foundation for absolutely everything else. Then, with that foundation solid, they developed the intelligence, their advanced driver assistance AI called XPilot. And only then did they launch their very first vehicle, the G3 SUV, back in 2018. And this really gets to the heart of their whole philosophy. For XPeng, a car isn't just a car. It's a technology platform on wheels. It's a smart device that gets better and better over time through software updates. You know, just like your phone gets new features overnight while you're sleeping. But of course, as XPeng's smart cars started to get popular, they popped up on the radar of the very industry leader they had once looked to for inspiration. The student was about to get a very serious challenge from the master. So, in 2019, the story takes a really dramatic turn. Tesla files an intellectual property lawsuit. They accused a former autopilot engineer of stealing source code and taking it over to XPeng. Now, the case was eventually settled out of court, but that accusation, it cast a really long shadow, raising some serious questions about how original XPeng's technology really was. So how do you bounce back from a very public fight with the biggest name in your industry? Well, for XPeng, there was only one answer. They had to prove, without a doubt, that their tech wasn't just legitimate, it was world-class. And to do that, they had to go global. And they didn't just stay in China. They pushed hard into some of the toughest, most competitive EV markets on the planet, places like Norway, Germany, and France.
They were out to prove their cars could meet the highest international standards and go head-to-head with the absolute best.
And then came the ultimate proof. A massive $700 million investment. But this wasn't from some tech venture fund. No, this was from one of the oldest, most respected names in the entire auto industry, Volkswagen. This partnership was a huge moment. I mean, think about it. Here's a legacy giant, a titan of old-school car making, basically admitting that this upstart from China had built smart EV tech that was so advanced they wanted to partner up and use it in their own cars. Any lingering doubts from that lawsuit? They were silenced. XPENG had officially arrived.
But XPeng isn't just focused on winning today's market. Oh no, they are building a future that looks like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, and it's all centered around something they call their AI tech tree.
The ambition here is just incredible. They're developing their own custom AI chips that will be way more powerful than anything on the road today, making their cars smarter and safer. They're building a modular vehicle they call the land aircraft carrier. Just imagine a van that you drive somewhere, and then it deploys a personal flying drone for you to explore with. And they're even developing humanoid robots to work in their factories. This isn't just an EV company anymore. It's a full-on mobility and AI company. This quote from the founder himself just perfectly frames what's at stake. He gets it. He knows that the EV revolution is going to be a battleground, a period of what he calls brutal competition, where only the most innovative companies are going to make it out alive. So after seeing their whole journey from a startup inspired by a patent release to a global tech powerhouse with flying cars on the roadmap, we're left with the ultimate question. With its deep focus on in-house AI and this unbelievably bold vision for the future, does XPeng actually have what it takes to one day surpass the company that started it all? Let us know what you think.